Oh, Joanna, I mean, there's so much to say about Joanna. It's interesting, I've met hundreds, if not thousands of artists. And like any group of people, there's people that are loved and people that are reviled and people that are just people. I don't think I've ever met an artist that is so universally loved.
More than that, stripper. No, I feel, because in the invitation it says tomorrow is the preview.
Yes.
And I don't know how we'll pull it off, because if it's the preview for the press, that's when you really want the stuff to look good and it won't be finished.
Joanna is an original. There's no one else quite like her.
Yeah.
You know, she's full of energy. She's immensely cheerful, extremely kind and generous.
But you will not see work like this anywhere. And it's not just different to be different. It's a vision that comes from her, and it speaks of who she is, and it is just classy and inventive.
I'm sure there'll be 500 people there. She'll have food, and I mean, it'll be a music, and you know, it's a real performance.
This is such an incredibly ambitious project. It's a huge body of work, and it's cohesive, it works together, and it reflects who Joanna Staniszkis is. And she's someone with an awful lot of class.
What else can I say? What else can I add? I have taught at the University of British Columbia for over 36 years, until a few months ago when I decided that it's time for me to hang my hat, my professorial hat, and to devote my time completely to my art. For the first time in my life, I feel I can really, truly immerse myself in my work, which I have done this time in preparation for this exhibition.
I think Joanna is one of those very rare, extraordinary human beings where she has very strong convictions. She has very strong beliefs. She is well learned with her various degrees in design, her various degrees in architecture, and her work in academia. Incredibly intelligent woman.
In the field of textile design, almost every move is really, you are doing something which has not been done before. So every time you pick up a needle, or every time you pick up a pair of scissors, I feel that you are really sort of cutting new ground. It is an enormous amount of work to prepare an exhibition, to prepare a new show. The conceptual stage where you walk around with the ideas in your head, you dream of things, you can visualize, because being in that field for such a long time, I can predict how things will look, but not really completely.
I'm not an art critic or an art historian, but I do work with women artists. And I'm very interested in how they approach their work and how it kind of reflects who they are in their lives. And with Joanna, one of the things that really struck me in the beginning was her ability. She stays very, very close to her textiles. She doesn't, in her own words, why would I go anywhere else? If she's working with a textile that has a very fine weave to it, and she wants to print that textile, she's not going to print stripes on it. She's going to print the fibers and the weave of another textile onto that textile. And that's what I mean by, she has a wonderful ability to work at macro and micro levels when she's working with, she stays very close to the textile, and yet in doing so, she goes very deep, and she finds, I think, levels of expression right there and brings them to us to appreciate.
After the experimental stage, then you actually sit down and you start working on the real pieces. And this is quite wonderful. It's as creative as the early stage of the conceptual part, but now you are physically involved in the work itself. And now you can see that the concepts which you have conceived are really either working or not working. I was born in Poland, and I lived in Poland, in Warsaw. I was a student at the Fine Arts Academy. I could speak English, which was great advantage, because when an opportunity came to leave, and it came in the form of a scholarship which I got at the School of the Chicago Art Institute, I was able to leave. I was one of the lucky few who were actually allowed to leave Poland at that time. 1964 was basically how many years after, about less than 20 years after the end of the war. So Poland was still quite poor and really in a time warp because of the communists. So here I arrived to Chicago, which is probably going through its incredible growth, and some of the best architecture was built at that time. Having spent so many years in the free country, I was not that keen on going back to Poland. And my parents, I consulted with my parents, and while they were heartbroken, they suggested that it would be probably better for me to stay. So I came to Canada. And I have no regrets. Looking back, I think that I had the best of the two worlds.
Well, I met Joanna when she was married to an architect who worked in my office in the middle 70s for 2 or 3 years, Tom Staniszkis. And Joanna and Tom lived in a townhouse in False Creek, and she had a studio there, and she was even then doing her fabric art, she called it, mainly for the lobbies of office buildings downtown. And she had many commissions, and they were very successful. And we've been friends ever since, and that was about 1975 or 6.
Throughout the whole time I taught, I had the studio, quite an active, busy studio, and I felt that the two really complemented each other.
And she doesn't ever appear to be tired. I mean, I don't know how she does it. I mean, she would teach all day and then go home and work on her clothing for the store at night.
After the first one, large commission, I kept on getting large commissions and larger.
They were rather like large paintings, and they were abstract and very colorful, and they fitted perfectly into public spaces. You know, often you come into rather dreary buildings, you know, and the public spaces need something like that, and so she filled that need for a long time. I think until she got tired of doing it, and she became very widely known because of that.
The tapestry behind me was woven 25 years ago. I had assistants weaving this piece, so there were 2 of us, and it probably took a few months working full-time, because it shows Vancouver skyline in 1979. So things have changed, the city has grown. I was on a sabbatical leave in France, and I got a phone call from the Prime Minister's office, and I was asked if the tapestry, which is hanging in one of the buildings downtown, can it be moved to a different location for one evening. I think it was in 1982, and it was taken to another location where a state dinner was taking place. And this tapestry became a background for very festive dinner with Queen Elizabeth and the Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. And the use of my tapestry as the backdrop gave the external affairs a wonderful idea to commission me on a number of occasions to create backdrops for some big conferences and some international meetings. First, there was a big Commonwealth Summit in Vancouver in, I think, '86, and I did a tapestry especially for that summit. It's still hanging in the Pan Pacific Hotel in the lobby. And the Queen unveiled the tapestry, so I had the chance to be presented to the Queen. Different kinds of situations or settings require special use of materials. For instance, I was asked to design a tapestry for Children's Hospital. So a setting which requires surfaces which are easily cleanable, and this just started quite a large body of work. I was interested in some of the costumes of Central Asia. I've done a whole grouping of coats which were inspired by the ikat coats. And ikat is a weaving technique.
In the exhibition, Translations of Tradition, what we did working together, Joanna and I and the designer, Herb Watson, we took the original pieces from our collections and her art pieces, and we juxtaposed them in the exhibit. The materials that she used were pieces of plexiglass, double-sided pieces of plexiglass formed into tubes, and she filled these with silk fibers, beautiful silk fibers in different colors. You ended up with something that showed their design and their shape, but was a very different kind of art piece. So they were spectacular. The exhibit was absolutely beautiful.
Growing up in Poland, there were not too many different kinds of materials. So linen was something which I grew up with, and I just found it so boring, and I was more interested in some new synthetics or in silks which were not really available readily. But living in the West and looking from the outside into Poland again, all of a sudden I really rediscovered the beauty of linen. I decided to make it a focal point of my research, but also of my creative research as well. And I brought some flax seeds from Poland.
Well, it turns out she has this greenhouse space that was given to her, and it was absolutely amazing. She had flax plants growing. She had wall hangings and all kinds of transferred imagery and shapes of different kinds made from linen. So I said to Joanna, you ought to have an exhibition of this work. Somebody ought to. She said, well, I have no place to show it. So I said, well, would you mind if I tried and find you a gallery to show this work? No, she said, do that.
Joanna came to the gallery, maybe 2.5 years ago, and it was initially through Ian Davidson, who's probably got the most serious pair of eyes in Vancouver. And initially when the gallery had a partner, Joanna was introduced to the partner and then to myself.
Well, I went to go and look at the work with a very good friend, Ian Davidson, who had been mentoring me in the art world. This was a bit of an adventure. We went into the university grounds. This was at night. It was being taken down a small path to these greenhouses, these older greenhouses. And as you entered and followed this pathway into these glass structures at night, if you can imagine, stars, as we entered, I could just feel my breath taken away. And the tears, I could feel tears of just awe and this most incredible, beautiful artwork. We organized a work, and it was the Linen Project. She starts right at the beginning. She looks at how flax is grown, how flax is produced, where it's produced. And for her, going back to her roots, going back to Poland and Eastern Poland, where flax was an integral part of everyday life. It was a part of women's work, it was a part of men's work, it was a part of children's work. It was food that they ate. It was the materials that they wore. It was ropes that they used for their animals. The show was extremely well received. I would say there were 500 people. You could not move in the gallery.
I mean, she'd gone to a lot of trouble to make this a very special event, which it was. I think Vancouver had never seen an exhibition like that before.
My previous show, which was focused on linen and flax plants and linen fabric, it took me about 4 years. And at the end, when I was ready to install the show, I had enough pieces to select from. In this show, the show all fits together, and I was working till the very end. So when, again, coming back to the subject of stages in preparation for the show, the last stage is all time consuming, because the last stage is getting the plexiglass boxes ready, visiting other craftsmen's workshops, selecting the proper rods, having them anodized, deciding on the size of plexiglass cases, having these manufactured. So there is a whole litany of technical issues which you need to address. So the art part is put to sleep for a while, because your mind works on how structurally how things should